This Florida Sheriff's Association video has been made in partnership with Star and Shield Insurance.
Synthetic drugs refer to a growing number of man-made, mind-altering chemicals that are either sprayed on dried, shredded plant material so they can be smoked, or sold as liquids to be vaporized and inhaled in e-cigarettes and other devices. They affect the brain more powerfully than traditional street drugs. Their actual effects can be unpredictable, and in some cases severe, even life-threatening. The use of these synthetic drugs and opioids not only threatens the health of our youth, but often leads to traffic crashes and other injuries. We see young people dying of drug overdoses every day, and we don't want it to be you.
The effects of synthetic drugs like bath salts and flakka can be extremely dangerous and severe. These drugs can cause suicidal thoughts, violent or reckless behavior, all of which are sure to draw the attention of law enforcement and other first responders. Because of their relatively low cost, this type of drug is attractive to users as young as 12 or 13, which is why we must educate our children on this danger.
Over the last 3 years, there has been a rise in deaths associated with illicit drugs, specifically heroin and fentanyl. The rise in the number of deaths associated with fentanyl is mainly due to synthetic analogs of the drug. These fentanyl analogs are powerful and are being combined with other strong opioids with deadly results. Carfentanil is probably the most lethal of the fentanyl analogs. Carfentanil was developed as a large animal tranquilizer. It is 100 times more potent than fentanyl and 10,000 times more potent than morphine. Since July of 2016, it has been responsible for several hundred deaths.
FDLE has a total of 6 labs, and 5 of those have chemistry analysis capabilities. Some labs may analyze a certain drug more than others simply because of its location. The Tampa Bay lab may see an increase in pill use, whereas the Orlando lab may see an increase in synthetic cannabinoids. In 2016, our agency released more than 26,000 drug cases to law enforcement.
Every year, sheriffs meet to discuss issues for the upcoming legislative session. During these meetings, sheriffs discuss and debate a wide variety of public safety issues that will become the legislative priorities for the Florida Sheriff's Association. This year, sheriffs are focused on one key legislative priority: the passage of comprehensive drug control legislation to address Florida's rising heroin and fentanyl epidemic. The Sheriff's Comprehensive Drug Control Bill creates penalties for trafficking in fentanyl and synthetic drugs such as cannabinoids. It allows a person to be charged with murder for causing the death through the distribution of fentanyl, heroin, or any mixture of the drugs. This penalty currently exists for cocaine, opium, and methadone. It adds numerous fentanyl derivatives to Florida's controlled substances schedules to ensure all chemical variants of fentanyl are included, and it provides for an increased penalty for 4 or more grams of fentanyl. This penalty currently exists for other drugs that have no accepted medical applications. Sheriffs strongly believe this legislation is a critical element to Florida's plan to reduce the devastation these drugs have in our communities.
The Sarasota County Sheriff's Office was the first law enforcement agency in the state of Florida to equip deputies with the opiate reversal medication known as naloxone. An opiate antagonist, naloxone binds to the opiate receptors in the body and can reverse and block the effects of opioids. It can very quickly restore normal respiration to the person whose breathing has slowed or stopped as a result of overdosing from heroin or prescription opiate pain medication. Thanks to Representative Julio Gonzalez, who sponsored the Emergency Treatment and Recovery Act and helped secure a donation of auto-injectors from Caleo, our Sarasota County Sheriff's Office first responders now have more opportunities to save lives every day. In 2016, deputies administered naloxone 61 times and saved the lives of 56 people experiencing a heroin or opiate overdose. Naloxone is a significant component to our strategy, which is comprised of education, treatment, prevention, and enforcement in order to combat the opiate epidemic in Sarasota County.
We will not be able to arrest our way out of this addiction crisis. I've seen it ruin lives, families, and even neighborhoods. That's why we in Charlotte County have begun the Addiction Recovery Initiative. This program assists in getting drug users who want help into treatment. Any person with a drug addiction can approach any one of our deputies on the street or walk into any one of our facilities, turn in their drugs, and ask for assistance in obtaining treatment to overcome their addiction. They will immediately be brought to an addiction recovery facility without fear of prosecution, where they can receive the necessary treatment. Because it is only through individuals achieving sobriety we will be able to attain success on addiction.
According to the Center for Disease Control, in 2015, more than 52,000 people died from a drug overdose in the United States. This is more than all the auto accident-related deaths during the same period. In the same year, drug overdose claimed the lives of 3,228 citizens of our state. What is clear to the sheriffs is each death is a senseless and avoidable tragedy, and action is needed to avert further disaster. In this video, we touched on some of the elements of the comprehensive approach, which includes education, prevention, treatment, enforcement, and utilization of innovative approaches and life-saving methods. The sheriffs are leading the way to combat this epidemic by advocating to strengthen our drug laws and increase penalties for drug traffickers. But the sheriffs can't do it alone. They need the support of the community to combat this public health epidemic now more than ever, and we all can play a part. So in this regard, I want to thank you for your support and your efforts to address this critical social problem. By working together, we can save lives.
This Florida Sheriff's Association video has been made in partnership with Star and Shield Insurance.